Hi everyone, my name is Carlos Muianga. I'm a researcher at the Institute for Social and Economic Studies in Mozambique. I'm also a PhD student in Development Studies at SOAS University of London. I'm here to talk about my contribution to a recent Roape special issue on capital accumulation, financialization, and social reproduction in Mozambique. The title of my contribution is The Expansion of Capitalist Agriculture Production and Social Reproduction of Rural Labor, Contradiction Within the Logic of Capital Accumulation in Mozambique. As the title may suggest, in this article, I explore the contradiction of social reproduction of rural labor in the context of the expansion of large-scale capitalist agriculture production in Mozambique. This is something often overlooked in the public discourse aiming at promoting large-scale capitalist agriculture, has the narrow focus on increasing agricultural production and productivity, rural employment and incomes, and poverty reduction, has hidden the diverse and complex contradictions that have often emerged in relation to the reproduction of rural labor. So, my article challenged this discourse by analyzing primary and secondary evidence from two cases of expansion of large-scale capitalist agriculture production in Mozambique. One is a sugarcane plantation in the southern province of Maputo, and the other a forest plantation in the northern province of Nias. The two cases expose how the expansion of production in these sectors have affected the condition and have deepened the crisis of social reproduction of rural labor, revealing diverse and complex contradictions. The argument put forward in this article is that these contradictions have manifested in different forms, reflecting the extent to which forms of expansion and organization of sectors of capitalist agriculture production and the associated forms of labor exploitation have affected different spheres of social reproduction of labor in this context. Outside the sphere of capitalist enterprise, these include, but not exclusively, the large-scale land acquisition and peasant dispossession associated to this expansion and their impact on access to land and other resources central to reproduction of rural livelihoods. Within the sphere of capitalist enterprise, these include the complex dynamics of employment, labor process, and working conditions associated with the organization of agricultural production and plantation, and their impacts on the organization of different activities of social reproduction of labor. So, before exploring the contradiction of social reproduction emerging from these two cases, the article briefly presents a theoretical framework of the contradictory relationship between production and social reproduction under capitalism by considering the classical Marxist political economy abstract analysis of the relationship between production and reproduction, focusing on the reproduction of labor and social reproduction theory, and on the contradiction between capitalist production and social reproduction. Following this, the article revisits the debate on the agrarian question and rural labor in Mozambique to help understanding the historical logic of capital accumulation and its contradiction, as well as their continuity in contemporary political economy. After that, a brief description of contemporary and dominant pattern of accumulation in Mozambique over the past decades, from which the two cases a central part is made. This allowed us to identify patterns of continuity with past dynamics and to reach the conclusion that this contradiction may be reproducing on a larger scale as the expansion and intensification of extractive logic of accumulation that has dominated the country's political economy over these 2 decades has compromised alternative space of social reproduction.